The Vosges, also called the Vosges Mountains, are a range of low mountains in eastern France, near its border with Germany, together with the Palatine Forest to the north on the German side of the border. They form a single geomorphological unit and low mountain range of around 8,000 square kilometers in area, which runs in a north-northeast direction from the Burgundian Gate to the Börrstadt Basin, and which forms the western boundary of the Upper Rhine. Plain.The Grand Ballon is the highest peak at 1,424 meters, followed by the Storkenkopf and the Hohneck. Geography. The elongated massif is divided south to north into three sections. The higher Vosges, High Vosges, extending in the southern part of the range from Belfort to the valley of the Bruche. The rounded summits of the Hautes Vosges, called Ballons in French or Ballons. The sandstone Vosges, Middle Vosges, between the Permian basin of Saint-Dié, including the Devonian-Dinantian volcanic massif of Hohneck and Brigier in the Col-de Savin. The lower Vosges, Low Vosges, between the Col-de Savin and the source of the Lauter. In addition, the term Central Vosges is used to designate the various lines of summits, especially those above 1,000 meters in elevation. The French department of Vosges is named after the range. From a geological point of view, a graben at the beginning of the Paleogene period caused the formation of Alsace and the uplift of the plates of the Vosges, now in eastern France, and a black forest, now in Germany. Strictly speaking, scientifically, the Vosges Mountains are not mountains as such, but rather the western edge of the unfinished Alsatian graben, stretching continuously as part of the larger tertiary formations. Erosive glacial action was the primary means by which the representative highland massif feature developed. Geographically, the Vosges Mountains are located wholly in France, far above the Col de Savin, separating them from the Palatine Forest in Germany, which logically continues the same Vosges geologic structure but traditionally receives this different name for historical and political reasons. The Vosges in the southern and central parts are called the Hautes Vosges. These consist of a large Carboniferous mountain eroded just before the Permian period with gneiss, granites, porphyritic masses or other volcanic intrusions. But in the north, south and west, there are places less eroded by glaciers, and here Vosges Triassic and Permian red sandstone remains in large beds. The Grès Vosgiens are embedded sometimes up to more than 500 meters in thickness. The lower Vosges in north are dislocated plates of various sandstones, ranging from 300 to 600 meters high. The highest points are located in the Hautes Vosges. The Grand Ballon, in ancient times called Ballon-de Gebwiller, a Ballon-de Merbach, rises to 1,424 meters. The Storkenkopf to 1,366 meters. The Hohneck to 1,364 meters. The Kastelberg to 1,350 meters, and the Ballon d'Alsace to 1,247 meters. The Col de Salis, between the higher and central Vosges, reaches nearly 579 meters, both lower and narrower than the higher Vosges, with Mont Donnan being the highest point of this Nordic section. There is great similarity between the Vosges and the corresponding range of the Black Forest on the other side of the Rhine. Both lie within the same degrees of latitude, have similar geological formations, and are characterized by forests on the lower slopes, above which are open pastures and rounded summits of a rather uniform altitude. Furthermore, both exhibit steeper slopes towards the Rhine and a more gradual descent on the other side. This occurs because both the Vosges and the Black Forest were formed by isostatic uplift in a response to the opening of the Rhine Graben. The Rhine Graben is a major extensional basin, When such basins form, the thinning of the crust causes uplift immediately adjacent to the basin. The amount of uplift decreases with distance from the basin, causing the highest range of peaks to be immediately adjacent to the basin, and the increasingly lower mountains to stretch away from the basin. Mountains. The highest mountains of the Vosges are Grand Ballon 1,424 meters. Storkenkopf 1,366 meters. Hohneck 1,363 meters. Kastelberg 1,350 meters. Klinskopf 1,330 meters. Rothenbachskopf 1,316 meters. Lorchenkopf 1,314 meters. Batterykopf 1,311 meters. Oderfallimont 1,306 meters. Gazenduffaring 1,306 meters. Reinskopf 1,305 meters. Gazenduffied 1,303 meters. Ringbuhl 1,302 meters. Salzneck 1,302 meters. The following is a selection of other peaks in the Vosges. Latanet 1,292 meters. Petit Ballon 1,272 meters. Ballon d'Alsace 1,247 meters. Brazoard 1,229 meters. Ballon de Servance 1,216 meters. Drumont 1,200 meters. Planche des Belles 1,148 meters. Mulkenrain 1,123 meters. Champ du Feu 1,099 meters. Berenkopf 1,074 meters. Roche de Mutzig 1,010 meters. Donnen 1,009 meters. Taranchel 992 meters. Climate 965 meters. Harmenswollekoff 956 meters. Chatterpendu 902 meters. Ungersberg 901 meters. Tête du Coquin 837 meters. Mont Saint-Odile 760 meters. Debout 647 meters. Grand Wintersberg 581 meters. Hohenberg 550 meters. Climate. Meteorologically, as a consequence of the Föhn effect, the difference between the eastern and western mean slopes of the range is very marked. The main air streams come generally from the west and southwest, so the Alsatian central plains just under the Hautes-Vosges receive much less water than the southwest front of the Vosges Mountains. The highlands of the arrondissement of Romainmont receive as annual rainfall as snowfall more than 2 meters of water yearly, whereas some dry country near Colmar receives less than 500 millimeters of water in the event of insufficient storms. The temperature is much lower in the west front of the mountains than in the low plains behind the massif, especially in summer. On the eastern slope, economic vineyards reach to a height of 400 meters. On the other hand, in the mountains, it is a land of pasture and forest. The only rivers in Alsace are the Ile coming from South Alsace, and the Bruche d'Andlau and the Bruche, which have as tributaries other, shorter but sometimes powerful streams coming like the last two from the Vosges Mountains. The Moselle, Meurthe and Saar rivers and their numerous affluents all rise on the Lorraine side. In the higher Moselle and Meurthe basins, moraines, boulders and polished rocks testify to the former existence of glaciers which once covered the top of the Vosges. The mountain lakes caused by the original glacial phenomena are surrounded by pines, beeches and maples, and green meadows provide pasture for large herds of cattle, with views of the Rhine Valley, the Black Forest and the distant, snow-covered Swiss mountains. Settlement and language. Over the centuries, settlement increased gradually, as was typical for a forested region. Forests were cleared for, inter alia, agriculture, livestock and early industrial factories, and the water mills used water power. Concentrations of settlement and immigration took place not only in areas where minerals were found. In the mining area of the Liepvret Valley, for example, there was an influx of Saxon miners and mining specialists. From time to time, wars, plagues and religious conflicts saw the depopulation of territories. In the wake, it was not uncommon for people to be relocated from other areas. In pre-Roman times, the Vosges was empty of settlements and was colonized and dominated by the Celts. After the Roman era, Alemanni also settled in the east and Franks in the northwest. Contrary to widespread belief, the main ridge of the Vosges coincided with the historical Roman Germanic language boundary only in the southern Vosges. Old Romance is spoken east of the main ridge. In the valley of the Weiss around La Pautois, the valley of Liepvret, parts of the canton of Weiler Valley and parts of the Bruche Valley. By contrast, those parts of the northern Vosges and the whole of the Wasgau, which lie north of the Bruche Valley, fall within the Germanic-speaking area because, from Schirmeck, the historical linguistic boundary turns to the northwest and runs between Donnen and Mutzigfelsen heading for Sauerberg. The Germanic areas of the Vosges Mountains are part of the Alemannic dialect region and cultural area and, in the north, also part of the Frankish dialect region and cultural area. The Romanesque areas are part of the patois language region. For a long time, the distribution of languages and dialects basically correlated with the pattern of settlement movements. However, the switch from German to French as the lingua franca, which took place between the 17th and the 20th century across the whole of Alsace, was not accompanied by any further significant movements of population. History. The massif known in Latin as Vosges Mons or Vosges Silva, sometimes Vosges Mons, was extended to the vast woods covering the region. Later, German speakers referred to the same region as Vosges and Vosgenwald. On the lower heights and buttresses of the main chain on the Alsatian side are numerous castles, generally in ruins, testifying to the importance of this crucial crossroads of Europe, violently contested for centuries. At several points on the main ridge, especially at Saint Odile above Ribeauvillé, are the remains of a wall of unmortared stone with tenons of wood, about 1.8 to 2.2 meters thick and 1.3 to 1.7 meters high, called the Murpaean. It was used for defense in the Middle Ages, and archaeologists are divided as to whether it was built by the Romans or before their arrival. During the French Revolutionary Wars, on the 13th of July 1794, the Vosges were the scene of the Battle of the Vosges. From 1871 to 1918, they formed the main border line between France and the German Empire. The demarcation line stretched from the Ballon d'Alsace to Montdonnen, with the lands east of it being incorporated into Germany as part of Alsace-Lorraine. During the First World War, the Vosges were the scene of severe and almost continuous fighting, and during the Second World War, in autumn 1944, they were the site of brief but sharp fighting between Franco-American and German forces. In the late 20th century, a wide area of the massif was included in two protected areas: the Parc Naturel Régional des Vosges du Nord and the Parc Naturel Régional des Ballons des Vosges. On the 20th of January 1992, Air Inter Flight 148 crashed into the Vosges Mountains while circling to land at Strasbourg International Airport, killing 87 people. Vosges and Jura coal mining basins. Nature parks. Two nature parks lie within the Vosges: the Ballons des Vosges Nature Park and the Northern Vosges Regional Nature Park. The northern Vosges Nature Park and the Palatine Forest Nature Park on the German side of the border formed the cross-border Palatine Forest North Vosges Biosphere Reserve.